some cases they might have to spell it or even train difficult words before they dictate them. That way, the next time that they dictate that word, especially if they use it a lot, Dragon will recognize it properly, and we can use the commands button to aid in the correction of Dragon. Now, the command browser is a window where you can locate voice commands that Dragon Medical recognizes, including commands that are provided within the software, as well as any other commands that the system administrator might have added. These are for custom commands. So basically, the command browser is the most comprehensive place to see different commands that are available for the Dragon application. So let me go to this next screen and show you typical word processing commands. And these are not just for word processing, but a lot of doctors will actually tend to use these commands. So if they wanted to create a new line after dictating a sentence, they would just simply say new line, and new line is just the equivalent of, t- uh, pressing the enter button on your keyboard. Now, new paragraph will actually, create a double space, and basically it's just hitting enter button twice. That will create a new paragraph. Undo that will undo the last action that you have done. So if you did new paragraph and you didn't really want to do new paragraph, you will just say undo that, and the cursor will just go back to its original position. Now, I think I have mentioned scratch that. It deletes the selected text. Usually, scratch that deletes the last word. Now, I usually tell a lot of users to be careful with scratch that, because if you try to say scratch that in succession two times, like let's say they get frustrated and say, why is Dragon not erasing my word? And they say scratch that, scratch that. Usually, if you say scratch that right away in two successions, it will tend to erase your entire sentence. So if you don't want Dragon to erase your entire sentence, try to pause, when saying scratch that. So usually the technique is, if you want to erase the last two words, you would say scratch that, pause for a couple of seconds, like 3 to 5 seconds before you say the other scratch that. Okay? And then open quote and close quote will usually insert quotation marks. So if you want to put a sentence or a phrase in parentheses, you would just say open quote, say your sentence or your phrase, and then say close quote to insert the close quote. The same way works with open parentheses and close parentheses. And if you want to say caps on, it will basically turn on the caps lock on and off. Now, another command that usually is very important is if they're starting a new sentence or a new line, they would have to say cap that, or capitalize the first letter of that sentence. Now, once they start using the period, it will just automatically capitalize the next, the first letter of that word for that sentence. Now, the next step is creating commands. Now, to add a new command, it's very easy through the command browser. And typically, there are four types of commands that can be created. So this is what I was talking about earlier, which is the macro or the template. So there are four types of commands that can be used. The most common commands that are being used that I see is usually the text and graphics command, as far as providers or doctors are currently using. Okay. So let's basically, the first one is the text and graphics, which basically enable you to create a command with text and any graphics. And then we have the macro recorder, okay, which is basically, it just allows you to record, a series of clicks from your screen. There's also a step-by-step in scripting, but we will probably concentrate on the text and graphics and probably do a little bit of macro recording. Now, to create a text and graphics command from the Dragon toolbar, and we will go through all this once we're done. We're almost at the tail end of our PowerPoint presentation. So just bear with me for a few more minutes, and we will do a demonstration of all of what all of the things that we have done on the first portion. Okay, so from the Dragon toolbar, we are going to the Tools button and then add a new command. We are basically going to input the following information: the name of the macro, the description, the group, and the availability, the command type, text and graphics, and enter the text and graphics as needed. So if we go to the next screen, this is pretty much what I was talking about. So we will go to the tools, and then once we get to the command browser or add a new command, we can select the command name. So in this example, we're going to use card plan. Okay, and we can just say the name of that particular command is card plan. We're going to train Dragon to recognize that whenever we say card plan, it's going to insert all of this text that we're going to enter. So we can put a description there like a cardiology plan. The group, we would usually just leave that by default to user defined. And the availability, again, the default is global. So this is where the command type comes in, is like what I've said. Most of the time, we're going to be using text and graphics as the command type. So we will just choose from the drop down text and graphics. And under the content, if we have this content saved in Microsoft Word somewhere, or if a doctor has it somewhere, we can just copy and paste it into this particular content. Now, one tip I can share to everybody is that whenever you're pasting something here, make sure that it's in text format, and try to not copy, a formatted text from Microsoft Word, because sometimes it may create problems when we dictate that particular command. So usually what I suggest is to just copy it from Microsoft Word and then paste it first on a notepad, and then you can just copy it or cut and paste it over into the content of your command that you are creating. Now once you're done, you can just click on the save button at the bottom, and that should save your command. Okay, so we are basically just going to save your macro, and our macro or our command is now ready to use at this point. So this is just an overview. The next portion is how to create a recorded command. So like what I've said, it records your clicks from your screen, and pretty much it just opens up another screen for you. Okay, so like if you want to record, just to give you an overview, if you want to record a command that opens up a web page like Facebook, for example, or LinkedIn, you can actually do that. So we're gonna do a demo of that later on. So basically, it's gonna ask us to input the same amount of information as what we have earlier. It's gonna be the same exact group, and what it will do is we'll just have to choose the command type macro recorder from there. Now, once we have it will the difference is once we actually have inputted all of the appropriate information, we are going to press record. Once we press record, it's going to record all of the mouse clicks that we try to do on our screen. And then once we click on save, and once we've trained the command name, it's going to execute that command for us. Okay, and we're going to do a demo of this after the PowerPoint portion. Okay, so this brings us almost to the conclusion. Okay, and basically, this is how we're gonna apply it or use Dragon with the Allscripts EHR, since we support a lot of providers and clinics with the Allscripts EHR. So Dragon can be used within Allscripts even if they're using it through a Citrix platform. So providers can dictate within a structured note in the following sections. Basically, the note authoring workspace and any of the free text fields in the note. Another area where they can dictate is if a specific clinic or practice is using unstructured notes, they can also use that as well. Okay. Now, a couple of troubleshooting tips, and this is very important to know too as well. Is number one, to make sure that your microphone and headset or handheld is set up and used correctly. This is the number one cause of poor transcription accuracy. So if the microphone is not set, or maybe the microphone could just be, it's probably off, because most microphones or most stand-up mics have an on-off button. They need to make sure, or the user needs to make sure that it's turned on, of course, before it can accurately, uh, get transcribe their dictations, and also make sure that the volume is set into the correct level. Now, number two is this is true for those who have the enterprise version, is to make sure that the profile is matched with your current headset or microphone or handheld. Now, the next one is to increase accuracy and performance. We have to perform additional training and run the accuracy assistant. Again, that's just part of the initial setup. Before we finish up on the setup, usually it will ask us to run the accuracy assistant. And then the next one is, of course, to train any hard to pronounce words. And the last one being is to correct any misspelled words as they occur. Okay? And that's the conclusion of our first part. And does anybody have any questions so far with the presentation or with Dragon in general? Okay, thank you so much, Scott. So, if there are no questions at this point, we are going to the second portion, which is basically we're gonna go and start using Dragon. So I have my Dragon here. I think I have it on dock mode. Let me try to see if or in floating mode rather. Let me try to see if I can dock dock it on top. All right. Can everybody see the Dragon bar so far, or no? Oh, you can see the Dragon bar. Okay, I wasn't sure whether it was being captured in the screen, but this is the dock mode, and this is the default mode. But I guess for purposes of the recording, I think the recording might not be capturing the docked mode, so I'm just gonna change it to floating mode just to make sure that we get it captured in in our recording. So this is the example of the dragon bar, and as I have mentioned, when you click on that dragon icon, it just allows you to change the docking to cling to tray icon only. So whatever the user preferences is, I usually just recommend it into the dock to top mode. Therefore, it's always appearing on top and it's very easy to access. Okay. So, as I have mentioned, this is the microphone. So, this is the most important step. Again, to turn on the microphone, I can just simply click on it and it's on now. So, it's going to start listening to my dictations. I'm going to say, go to sleep, go to sleep, stop listening. So it's actually not oh, there you go. I thought it wasn't gonna cooperate with me, that I had to manhandle it and twist Dragon's arms. But there you go. It's actually on sleep mode right now. This is the icon that I was talking to you about. It's diagonal. And if I want to turn it on, I would just say start listening, or just wake up, wake up, Dragon, wake up.